One of the challenges we did encounter on the program was how to control the changes that inevitably come down the pike on any sort of major development program. I think on the Space Act Agreement, on the COTS program, while there were a requirement set that we were working to, those requirements would change, and we have encountered that for over the life of the COTS program as well as during the CRS program. Things do change. And so managing that change was interesting on the Space Act Agreement because there's no remedy for that change. If NASA decides they want to change the requirements document, then our job is to identify what the risks are in those changes, how that could impact the overall performance of the program, and then work with NASA on what the eventual requirements might be. And so controlling that change, I think, was a challenge not only for us, but it was also a challenge for NASA when you've got a very large engineering organization whose goal it is to have a successful and completely reliable spacecraft. Along the way, they may think of things to add or change in the requirements that they just hadn't thought of in the beginning of the program. And so those changes eventually get flowed to us. Well, if you're in the middle of building the hardware, it's very difficult to stop on a dime and just accommodate those changes. And so I think by building the relationship we had with NASA, that relationship of trust, that collaborative relationship, I think we're able to work through those issues. But it shouldn't be underestimated that that type of change for a commercial provider that's working on essentially a fixed budget can have a big impact on their performance. I think one of the things we should keep in mind, too, is there's the programmatic side of the change, in the sense of, did NASA really have a good handle on how they wanted to manage these commercial contracts, these commercial cargo contracts over time, especially when they got into the COTS program? And so what did they really want to get out of the reviews that we have as milestones? What did they really want to get out of the documentation? And we saw changes in that, in those requirements as well. And so they're not as difficult to deal with because they don't affect whether a printed wiring board needs to get redesigned, but they may affect how you manage the program. And so I think having as clear as possible expectations up front, not only in the programmatic requirements but in the technical requirements, really would go a long way in helping commercial providers succeed even better than we have.